In today's video, I'm going to be showing how to make this beautiful shell stitch rectangle that's worked using a simple 2-round repeat. First, I'll walk you through the stitch pattern itself, and then after that, I'll go into how you can resize it, along with a few troubleshooting tips. For this demo, I'm using a weight 4 cotton yarn with a 4mm hook. Now, there's not a reason that I'm doing that for this pattern. It's simply because I like this size, so use whatever hook and yarn size you like best. For my sample, I did a color change after every second round, and I stayed on the same side for every round. So you have a very distinct front and back. If you want to have more of a reversible effect where you have the same kind of texture on both sides, then I would flip my work over after every second round. For this pattern, we're working with a multiple of 7 plus 10 for the starting chain. The first workable number is a chain 17, followed by 24 and 31. I'll be talking more about this at the end of the video, but basically the chain 17 is going to give you a rectangle that is a little bit longer than a square. The 24 will give you a more balanced rectangle, and the chain 31 will give you a wider rectangle. I'd say a chain 24 is probably your sweet spot, but again, if you're just looking for a slight rectangle shape, then a chain 17 is a great way to go too. Adding a slip knot to my hook. For this demo, I'm going to start with a chain of 24. Again, that is the multiple of 7 plus 10 more at the very end. Round 1 is our setup round. We're going to be making V stitches. A V stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same stitch. To begin, add a double crochet in the 5th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1 and add a double crochet in the same chain. This is your very first V stitch, and the chain 3 on the side counts as your first double crochet. Chain 1. Next, skip 4 chains and work a double crochet in the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the next chain, add a V stitch. Double, chain 1, double, all in the same chain. And in the following chain, just a double. Chain 1, and that's your sequence going across. And you're going to continue this sequence across until you have 5 remaining chains. Skip 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th, add a double crochet, V stitch in the next, and a double crochet in the next, followed by a chain 1. When you come to the end, you should have 5 remaining chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. In that last chain, we're going to work our corner. For your corner, you're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, 6 times. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. That's 2 so far. 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Now if you get something messy like this, don't worry about it. Take that slip knot and just undo it. You can weave that in later. Now we're going to work the other side of our chain. We're just going to mimic what we did before. Remember, we finished with a final double crochet and chain 1. Now we're skipping 4 stitches and working a double crochet in the 5th, and it's in the very same place as the double on the other side, followed by a V-stitch in the next, and a double crochet in the next. Chain 1, and then continue all the way across until you come to the next corner. To complete this round, we need to complete this corner. To do that, we need to do a double crochet, chain 1 3 times in the same space as these other stitches. Double crochet, chain 1. Okay, that's one set. Let's do that 2 more times. And to complete the round, you're going to do a slip stitch into the top of the 3rd chain. 1, 2, 3. To double check that you did your corners correctly, you want to see 6 double crochets with 5 chain 1 spaces. And now for round 2, we're working the shell round. To begin, add a single crochet in the chain 1 space. And then in the V-stitch, we're going to work 7 double crochets. Now I don't really think we need this, but I'm going to place a stitch marker into the top of that single crochet we made at the very beginning. I think you'll easily be able to see it, but just in case, we'll put it there. In this next chain 1 space, add a single crochet, and then skip over to the V-stitch, which is essentially 2 stitches over. Work your 7 double crochets. Work a single crochet in the next chain 1 space, so you're skipping those 2 doubles there and working your single. And you're just going to repeat this all the way across until you come to your next corner. When you come to your corner, work your shell into this first V-stitch. In the next, add a single crochet. In the next, add your shell. In the next, add a single crochet. And in that final chain 1 space of the corner, add a shell. This is how your corner should look. And now we're working down the other side. We're just mimicking what we just did. So adding a single crochet in the next chain 1 space. That helps to anchor that shell down. Skipping over the 2 double crochets and working a shell in this V-stitch. Single crochet in the chain 1 space. Skip over to the V-stitch to make your shell. Single crochet in the chain space. And we're back to our corner. So a shell in that first V-stitch. A single crochet in the next chain space, followed by a shell in the next. And we're back to the beginning of the round. Here's our single crochet. We're just going to add a slip stitch into it to complete the round. And you'll have something that looks like this. And now we're ready for the 2 round repeat. We're back to a V-stitch round. If you're using the same color, chain 4. This will serve as your first double crochet, chain 1, and then add a double crochet into the same stitch to count as your first V-stitch. If you're changing colors, fasten off and reattach into the same spot. What I like to do is backtrack. Here I am at the very last double crochet of the round, bringing in my new color, pulling it through, and then do the slip stitch to complete the round using my new color. And then snip my yarn. Same thing, chain 4, double crochet into the same stitch to create your first V-stitch. This is half of one of your corners and we'll complete it on the other side. Okay, next, chain 5. This will take us across the shell and work a V-stitch in the next single crochet. So you're skipping a shell, the single in between, work a V-stitch. Chain 5, skip the shell and work a V-stitch into the single crochet. Continue doing this until you reach a corner. And where is your corner? It's on either sides of the shell that points out. For your corners, you're going to work a V-stitch into the single crochet, chain 3, and V-stitch into the same stitch. Chain 5, you're back to another corner, so that's a V-stitch into the single crochet, chain 3, V-stitch into the same stitch. So your corners should look something like this. Now you're just going to continue across with the same sequence, chain 5, and V-stitch into the single in between the shells, chain 5. When you come to a corner, V-stitch into the single, chain 3, V-stitch into the same stitch, chain 5. We're back to our first corner. We already have a V-stitch inside. We're going to complete by doing a V-stitch into the same space. Typically you do a chain 3, but I would recommend that you do a half double crochet to complete. Work it into the top of your chain 3. 1, 2, 3. This will place you in the middle of your corner. Okay, and for this round, we're doing a shell round. This will complete your 2 round repeat. Where you left off, add a single crochet into the same space, and in the next V-stitch, add your shell. Remember, 7 double crochets. To anchor it down, we're doing a single crochet, but this time we're going to do it into the middle double from the previous shell. So essentially the 4th double crochet. When you do it, work over the chain above to hold that down as well. Skip over to the V-stitch and work your next shell. And you're just going to continue this across. If you're finding that this is working too tightly for you, you can add a chain 1 before and after your shells to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, but I'm choosing not to do that here. I'm just going to go straight into the single crochet, working a single crochet into the top of the previous shell in that 4th double, making sure to catch the chain above, and then a shell in the next V-stitch. When you come to a corner, you're going to do a shell in the V-stitch, a single crochet in the chain 3 space, followed by another shell in the next V-stitch. And then on the side here, just the same thing, a single crochet into the middle double from the previous shell, back to another corner. So that'll be a shell, single crochet in the chain 3 space, and shell in the next V-stitch. You're just going to continue all the way around, repeating the sequence, and I'll see you at the final corner. Back to the first corner, I have a V-stitch that I need to fill with a shell and fasten off with a slip stitch into that single crochet from the beginning of the round. And that's all there is to it. You're just going to continue repeating rounds 3 and 4 until you complete your project. And what I love so much about this pattern, when you're finished, you already have a built-in border. Like I mentioned earlier, starting with a chain 17, 24, or 31 are great places to start, but maybe you have a specific size in mind. I have done a video in the past about rectangles where you take the finished size that you want to make and subtract those numbers from each other to figure out your starting chain measurement. And I do recommend that you watch that. It works really well. If you decide to use that method, don't forget to use the stitch multiple of 7 plus 10 as you're making your chain. And if all of this sounds really complicated and you just want a simple, slightly rectangular blanket, then I would start with a chain 17 or chain 24 to make a nice shaped blanket. As far as troubleshooting, one of the most common things that you'll see with a rectangle is that it starts to get wavy, and that's because it's starting to grow too quickly. A simple fix for this is to reduce the chains to help tighten things up. So for example, with this, I noticed after round 8, mine was starting to get a little ruffly. So when I came to rounds 9 and 10 for the V-stitch round, I cut down on my chains. Instead of a chain 5, I did a chain 4 on the sides, and in my corners, instead of a chain 3, I did a chain 2. And that really helped. Otherwise, everything else was just the same. I wouldn't do that for every single round. I would go back to the normal pattern, but just keep an eye on it. And every time it starts looking like it's getting ruffly again, I would cut down on those chains. Another thing you might notice is that the ends are flaring out and this is starting to dip. That will mean more that these stitches are too tight. I recommend that you try 1 hook size larger for your starting chain. This will help relax this a little bit to help things stretch out. Also on the sides here between your shells, instead of just going straight into those single crochets, add a chain 1 in between. This will help loosen all of this up as well. I did mention this as well as we were working on the tutorial, but I think it bears repeating. If you like the pattern but you don't really like the gappiness of the chains, well, there is an option. You can replace that with a row of single crochets. You want to subtract 4 from your starting chain once you figured out the stitch multiple that you want to work with. So for example, if you start with 17 chains, you would reduce it down to 13, And for the chain 24, you go down to 20. But don't forget, when you make your starting chain, you need to add one more to help you make that stitch count. Your first single crochet and your last single crochet serve as your end points. This is where you bring back those 4 chains. And continue with round 1 as normal. Well, I think that's it, but if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, a like is so appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Dang it. This is what happens when you forget to clean after filming. Hey, old man. Yes.